Imagine stepping into a room where the X-ray machine doesn't just capture your bones. It shows something far more terrifying: the living and the dead. What I uncovered in this haunted X-ray room will leave you questioning reality itself. And what happened there still haunts me to this day. The heavy rusted door creaked loudly as I pushed it open, the sound echoing through the empty halls. A dim light flickered overhead, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. The air was thick with the stale smell of decay, mixed with a strange metallic tang that made my stomach turn. This hospital has been abandoned for decades, but whispers in the town speak of one room that even the boldest dare not enter. The X-ray room, they say, holds a terrifying secret, a place where the living and the dead seem to converge. One story stands out: a shadowy figure caught on a camera, left running overnight. When investigators reviewed the footage, they saw something horrifying: a figure moving inside the room. Yet, when they checked, the room was completely empty. Built in the early 1900s, this hospital was once a beacon of hope for the sick and injured, but its story took a dark turn when patients began disappearing under mysterious circumstances. Whispers of malpractice and unexplainable events swirled, but the spotlight always fell on one place: the X-ray room. It was here that fear took on a life of its own. Locals tell chilling tales about this room. They claim it wasn't just used to diagnose illnesses. It became a portal of sorts, exposing the spirits of patients who never truly left. People began noticing strange anomalies in the X-ray films: faint outlines of figures standing behind patients, even when no one else was there. As the hospital neared its closure, things grew worse. Medical records tied to the X-ray room vanished without a trace. Doctors who worked there refused to talk, their silence more haunting than words. And then there was the final X-ray, a scan so disturbing that it was hidden away, never to be shown again. What could have been on it? That's a question no one has dared to answer. The moment I stepped into the X-ray room, an icy chill rushed over me. The air felt thick, as if it had been trapped for years, unwilling to leave. Despite the machine being disconnected, it hummed faintly in the corner, almost as if it were alive, beckoning me closer. My breath turned visible in the cold, the silence oppressive and unnerving. As I moved deeper into the room, I noticed an X-ray film lying on a dusty counter. It looked like it hadn't been touched in years, yet it remained perfectly intact. As I examined it, my heart skipped a beat. The film revealed faint silhouettes of human figures, but the room was empty. No one was there. I found an old journal tucked away in a drawer. It belonged to a technician who had worked here years ago. As I flipped through the yellowed pages, a chilling entry caught my eye. "I've seen faces in the scans, faces that aren't in the room. Sometimes they smile. Sometimes they scream." The words sent a shiver down my spine. I turned to the X-ray table only to find strange symbols etched deeply into its surface. They were unlike anything I had ever seen, carved with precision, as if someone had gone to great lengths to leave their mark. The tension in the room grew heavier as I approached the machine, its cold metal gleaming in the dim light. Suddenly, I heard a faint whisper. At first, it was barely audible, but it grew louder, as if the room itself was speaking. I froze. The whispers seemed to come from nowhere, echoing all around me. And then, to my horror, the machine powered on by itself. The screen flickered to life, and there, staring back at me, was a face, pale and twisted, its eyes dark and hollow, its mouth frozen in a silent scream. I stumbled back, my heart racing. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, and began exploring the room further. Every corner seemed to hold something more sinister. Beneath the X-ray machine, I found what looked like dried bloodstains. Dark and crusted into the floor, as if someone had been dragged across the room. On the walls, deep claw marks had been scratched into the old peeling paint, as if something or someone had tried to escape. I hesitated before opening a locked drawer on the side of the room. Inside, I found an old cracked X-ray film so damaged that it was barely recognizable. But the faint outlines of human forms were still visible, trapped within the frame. It was as if they were trying to break free, forever caught in the grip of whatever cursed this place. I couldn't resist the temptation to test the machine. Despite the overwhelming sense of dread that had settled over me, I decided to place my hand under the scanner. As I watched, expecting to see my bones illuminated on the screen, I felt a strange chill in the air. But what appeared wasn't just my bones. There, gripping my hand, was another, ghostly, clawed, and twisted, as if a decaying hand from the afterlife had intertwined with mine. I pulled my hand back in a panic, my heart racing, but the image stayed on the screen for a moment longer, as if mocking me. The truth was beginning to unfold in a terrifying way. This wasn't just a hospital. This was a place of occult experiments, dark rituals meant to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. I had heard rumors, but now, standing in the center of this cursed room, I felt them come to life. The X-ray machine wasn't just a tool for diagnosing ailments. It was something far more sinister. Some say it had been turned into a portal, a gateway between our world and the other side. And the spirits trapped here weren't just reflections of the past. They were trying to come back. Suddenly, a sound pierced the air, a low, guttural whisper that seemed to come from every corner of the room. I spun around, my breath catching in my throat. The temperature dropped even further, and I saw something that made my blood run cold. The ghostly figure from the X-ray, the same twisted face, began to materialize in the room before me. Its eyes were hollow, its skin pale and stretched tight over its skull. It moved slowly, deliberately, its gaze locked onto mine, sending a wave of terror coursing through my veins. The room itself seemed to react. The hum of the machine grew louder, more intense, and suddenly, the walls began to flicker with distorted, nightmarish images. Faces writhing in agony, skeletal figures reaching out, and twisted, demonic forms circling the room. The machine, as if feeding off my fear, projected these horrifying visions onto every surface, the shadows growing longer, more menacing. I knew then that I had to get out. This place was not meant for the living. I bolted for the door, my pulse pounding in my ears, but as I reached for the handle I felt it. A cold, icy grip on my shoulder, pulling me back. I screamed and tried to shake it off, but the force was unrelenting. The machine hummed louder now, almost deafeningly, and the ghostly figure moved closer, its hollow eyes never leaving mine. Whatever was trapped in that room, whatever had been awakened, didn't want me to leave. With every ounce of strength, I tore myself free from its grip and ran, desperate to escape the nightmarish grasp of the X-ray room. The door finally creaked open, and I stumbled into the hallway, gasping for air. But as I looked back, I could still hear the hum of the machine, the whispers in the darkness, and the chilling certainty that whatever I had uncovered that night had only just begun to haunt me. As I stood there, still shaken by what had just happened, I couldn't help but revisit the haunting question that had first crossed my mind when I stepped into that room. Was it just an X-ray, or did I witness the souls of the forgotten patients? The images, the ghostly figure, the chilling sensation, it all felt too real to be dismissed as mere coincidence. But then again, could it really be explained by science? Or was there something far beyond our understanding happening in that room? Even now, I can't explain what I saw. The machine seemed to open a doorway, one that connected the living with the dead. But was it truly a portal, or just my mind playing tricks on me under the pressure of fear? The answers remain elusive. shrouded in the dark mystery of that haunted hospital. What do you think? Could this machine really have the power to bridge the gap between life and death? Or is it simply a relic of a past filled with darkness? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you want to hear more spine-chilling stories like this, be sure to subscribe and join me on this journey into the unknown. There are many more hidden horrors yet to be uncovered.